What comes to mind when you think of Halloween? There's a good chance you think of an assortment of dancing skeletons and decade-old candy corn. But the origins of Halloween extend all the way back to a group of Celtic pagans living in the Iron Age. In fact, Halloween originated under the title of Samhain. This ancient festival was a 3-day created by the Celts in Northern Europe. Translated in modern Irish, Samhain means summer's end. So the festival literally signaled the conclusion of summer and beginning of a new season. Originally, Samhain stemmed from pagan and supernatural roots through sacrifice and offerings. October brings with it changing weather, pumpkin-flavored treats, and the excitement of autumn festivities. Among these, Halloween stands out as a day many look forward to. But for numerous Christian families, a lingering question is it okay for Christians to celebrate Halloween? Well, the answer? It depends. God desires faithful obedience for you and your family. For Christians, Halloween offers the opportunity to model faithfulness and obedience in our decision-making. For many Christian communities, there are 3 main responses to Halloween: the rejection, acceptance, or redemption of Halloween. Approaching difficult circumstances surrounding the celebration of Halloween requires communication within your family about expectations and boundaries. So, do Christians celebrate Halloween? Swirling around Halloween's fall festivities and trick-or-treating are the not-so-subtle connections to problematic supernatural practices. Despite the distance from its period of origin, Halloween still remains connected to paganism. On a general level, Halloween is a time of the year celebrated by advocates of Wicca, a network of practicing witches. As the official religion of witchcraft, Wicca believes October 31st to mark the time when the separation between the spiritual and physical realms is the thinnest. In other words, Halloween is the best time to try and interact with the supernatural realm, according to Wiccans. Going further, some of those otherworldly connections align with Satanism. Halloween has always maintained a relationship with occultism. Additionally, Halloween's premise includes an intentional and public display of imagery, mischief, and behavior generally looked down upon any other time of the year. All things considered, this leaves Christians in a difficult place. On one hand, there are elements of Halloween that are harmless and fun, while on another, Halloween contains sinister influences and promotes behaviors that present troubling realities for families of all backgrounds. So, let's explore a few more key questions about Halloween. What does Halloween mean? In linguistic terms, Halloween is simply a contraction of All Hallows and Evening. The word itself means Saints' Evening, and it comes from the Scottish term for All Hallows' Eve. Over time, a variety of roots and word stems morphed into the modern spelling of Halloween. Is Halloween the devil's holiday? If we base our answer off the historical origins of Halloween, then the answer is no. However, that doesn't exclude its overarching associations with death and paganism. Within the context of Christianity and biblical references, Satan's or Lucifer's origin has little to do with Halloween. Yet, the relationship between the devil and Halloween exists for a reason. The reason has developed over centuries because of the original emphasis upon death and even more sinister elements. Is it a sin to celebrate Halloween? For followers of Christ, our actions and behaviors are judged according to our obedience to Christ. Within the context of celebrating Halloween, this truth remains. We are defined by our actions and how closely our heart is aligned with God's desires. Whether it is a sin for Christians to celebrate Halloween depends on how exactly you plan to celebrate. For some families, this might require more intentionality in discussing how you plan to celebrate Halloween. For other families, these discussions might lead to a change in your plans, and that is a perfectly acceptable response. It's true, the Bible contains no direct references to Halloween by name. However, Scripture carefully instructs Christians against participation in pagan practices directly involving witchcraft, the occult, and the worship of other deities. In 1 Corinthians 10:31, Paul writes, "So, whether you eat or drink, or whatever you do, do all to the glory of God." Our obedience to God requires a careful understanding of how much God cares about our choices. In deciding whether to participate in Halloween, you and your family can consider how your actions might align with God. Dressing up in a costume and handing out candy on October 31st is not a sin, just as it wouldn't be a sin to do the same thing on April 1st. However, how you represent Christ matters, especially on polarizing days such as Halloween. Remember how you portray Jesus in your behaviors, how you interact with people, and even your costume choices. Since the Bible doesn't address Halloween, many Christians liken the celebration to other moments where the Bible discusses witchcraft, sacrifice, and worldly behaviors. The Bible contains various teachings on how to behave or interact with the world's troubling celebrations. In Deuteronomy 18:10, the Lord establishes rules for the Israelites concerning a wide variety of practices. These include human sacrifice to conjuring spirits to telling fortunes, and even those who practice sorcery. These verses provide clarity for what Christians should not do. Yet some might ask, how many Christians are making human sacrifices or telling fortunes on Halloween? Well, hopefully none at all. The New Testament expands upon how Christians should approach difficult situations that can arise from things that are often connected with Halloween. Ephesians 5:7-15 says, "For this light within you produces only what is good and right and true. Carefully determine what pleases the Lord. Take no part in the worthless deeds of evil and darkness. Instead, expose them. It is shameful even to talk about the things that ungodly people do in secret." Paul compares sin and our harmful decisions to living in darkness. But there is a way to live in the light and walk in obedience with God. When it comes to living within our modern world, our decisions and obedience to God still operate in the same way. With Halloween, what matters is how you interact with others, your decision-making, and how you represent Jesus to others. So can Christians celebrate Halloween? The answer is a bit more complex than maybe you originally thought. The Lord desires faithful obedience for you and your family. For Christians, Halloween offers the opportunity to model faithfulness and obedience in our decision-making. As Christians, why are we here in this world? Are we called to reach out to a world filled with dangers to represent Christ? Yes, we are. Whatever your decision, make it for the glory of God. Pray for opportunities to reach out to unbelievers and strengthen current believers in a way that builds the foundation of faith in Jesus. Let me know what you think in the comments. Thank you for watching. God bless.